Vader's Secret. In 1980, The Empire Strikes Back didn't just continue the story, it fundamentally redefined what Star Wars would become with one bombshell revelation. Released May 21st, 1980, 5 years after A New Hope, the film took audiences on a darker journey than anyone anticipated. During the climactic duel on Cloud City, Darth Vader reveals he is Luke Skywalker's biological father, shattering everything audiences thought they knew about the conflict between the Rebellion and the Empire. Luke loses his hand in the confrontation, a visceral representation of his vulnerability and shock at this impossible truth. Prior to this reveal, audiences had no indication of this familial connection, believing Vader had murdered Luke's father as Obi-Wan claimed. The film compounds the hero's losses with Lando Calrissian's betrayal of Han Solo to the Empire, leading to Han's capture and freezing in carbonite. The film ends with the heroes defeated, separated, and emotionally devastated, which was exceptionally rare for blockbuster sequels of that era. This revelation destroyed the archetypal hero narrative and introduced moral complexity to the franchise that would define it for generations. It transformed Star Wars from a simple good versus evil story into a deep exploration of family legacy, redemption, and the gray areas between light and dark. The reveal proved sequels could fundamentally alter audience understanding of previous films and created a template for future franchise storytelling that Hollywood still follows today. Zion's design. The Matrix Reloaded revealed that humanity's last free city was designed by the very machines they thought they were fighting. Zion had been presented in the first film as the final human stronghold against machine rule, a beacon of hope for the resistance. The architect, a cold and calculating program, reveals Zion was deliberately created by the machines as a pressure valve for approximately 1% of the population that consciously rejects the Matrix's false reality. This cycle has repeated 5 times previously, with 5 different versions of the One, meaning Neo is actually the 6th iteration of this pattern. The One's function is not to end the war, but to control the 1% population that destabilizes the system, acting as a release mechanism for anomalies. Zion is systematically destroyed and rebuilt in the same location after each cycle completes, with survivors carefully selected to restart the population. Neo's unique deviation comes from genuine love for Trinity, which contradicts his programmed, generic attachment to humanity that previous versions experienced. The machines achieve 100% Matrix acceptance temporarily when the One uploads the Prime program to the source, resetting the entire system. Each cycle allows the machines to refine their control mechanisms, making the Matrix more effective at suppressing human consciousness. This revelation inverts the entire premise of the original film in the most devastating way possible. Humanity's symbol of freedom was revealed as an elaborate prison, and humanity's supposed savior was merely a programmed tool for population control. It recontextualizes everything audiences believed about resistance and freedom in the trilogy, suggesting that even rebellion can be controlled and manipulated. Replicant Birth. Blade Runner 2049 discovered that the impossible had happened. A replicant had given birth to a child, and the entire franchise's mythology shifted around one character's potential identity. Released October 6, 2017, 35 years after the original Blade Runner, the film follows Officer K, played by Ryan Gosling, as he discovers physical evidence of replicant reproduction buried beneath a dead tree. K's investigation leads him to believe he might be the child of Rick Deckard and the replicant Rachel, making him the first naturally born replicant in history. This discovery would prove replicants can naturally reproduce, not just be manufactured in the Tyrell Corporation's labs. K experiences false memory implants suggesting he is the child, creating psychological torment as he searches for the truth about his origins. The memories feel absolutely real to K, including a childhood moment with a wooden horse that becomes central to the mystery. The original question from the 1982 film, whether Deckard is human or replicant, remains deliberately unresolved throughout the sequel. K's ultimate sacrifice allows Deckard to reunite with his daughter, Dr. Anna Stelline, accepting he is not the chosen one, but merely another replicant designed to serve. The film refuses to confirm Deckard's nature, only suggesting that the distinction between human and replicant has become meaningless in a world where both can love, suffer, and create life. The sequel expanded the original film's core question into a profound meditation on what makes someone human beyond their genetic makeup. By making reproduction possible and questioning identity at the genetic level, it suggests the biological distinction between human and artificial life has become irrelevant, focusing instead on consciousness and choice. Bootstrap Paradox. Terminator 2 Judgment Day created a time travel paradox so fundamental that even James Cameron couldn't fully resolve it. Kyle Reese is sent back in time by future John Connor to protect Sarah Connor from the original Terminator Terminator in 1984. Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor create John Connor through their romantic encounter in the past, ensuring John's existence. This creates a Bootstrap Paradox, where John's existence depends entirely on his own future decision to send Kyle back through time. The paradox is inescapable, because both participants believe everything happened exactly as it was supposed to happen. The question remains whether Judgment Day is inevitable or can truly be prevented through their actions in the present. The film suggests time travel creates a closed loop impossible to break, with every attempt to change the future actually causing it. James Cameron himself has acknowledged the paradox cannot be logically resolved using traditional physics or philosophy. The second film attempts to prevent Judgment Day by destroying Cyberdyne's systems, yet the paradox suggests this attempt may be futile. Rather than a weakness in the storytelling, this paradox became the film's thematic core, exploring the idea that some events are predetermined regardless of intervention attempts. It raised profound questions about free will versus destiny that haunt the entire franchise across multiple sequels. The paradox forces viewers to contemplate whether humanity has any control over its fate or whether the future is written in stone. Neo's negotiation. The Matrix Revolutions revealed that Zion's salvation required its heroes to strike a deal with the very machine intelligence they'd sworn to destroy. Zion faces total annihilation from hundreds of thousands of Sentinel machines attacking simultaneously in a final assault. Neo negotiates directly with Deus Ex Machina, the massive machine intelligence controlling the entire Matrix system from the Machine City. Neo agrees to remove Agent Smith's viral consciousness from the Matrix in exchange for peace between humans and machines. Agent Smith has become a virus replicating himself infinitely, threatening to crash the entire Matrix system. This represents unprecedented cooperation between human and machine, something neither side believed possible. Zion survives destruction, but only through compromise with the enemy, rather than military victory. The Matrix is reloaded after Smith's defeat, allowing the cycle to continue with modifications. The Oracle's intervention ensures Neo receives love as motivation, breaking the predetermined cycle that controlled previous versions of the One. Neo sacrifices himself to save both humans and machines, dying to destroy Smith from within the system. Freedom isn't won through victory, but through understanding and negotiation between opposing forces. The revelation that peace requires compromise fundamentally changes the franchise's message from liberation through war to coexistence through understanding and mutual survival. Hybrid Ripley. Alien Resurrection revealed that Ellen Ripley didn't survive the previous film at all. Released November 26, 1997, and directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, the film shows scientists using blood samples taken during Alien 3 to clone Ripley 200 years after her death. The cloning process creates Ripley 8, the first human-Xenomorph hybrid with enhanced strength, acidic blood, and genetic memories. The cloned Queen Xenomorph develops a humanoid reproductive system from genetic contamination during the cloning process. The Queen gives live birth to the newborn, a grotesque hybrid creature combining human and alien traits in disturbing ways. Call is revealed to be an Auton, a rebellious android created by other androids who oppose human exploitation. Call's mission was to prevent Ripley 8 from giving birth to the aliens, but she arrives too late to stop the project. The film explores 7 failed Ripley clones before the 8th success, each more horrifying than the last. Ripley 8 discovers these failed attempts preserved in tanks, confronting the horror of her own artificial existence. Ripley 8 ultimately sacrifices the newborn to save Call, accepting the android as her sister despite their artificial origins. The newborn views Ripley as its mother and rejects the Queen, showing disturbing human emotions. This revelation transforms Ripley from action hero to victim and unwitting mother of monstrosity in the franchise's darkest turn. It explores profound questions of identity, motherhood, and whether a clone is truly the same person as the original human who died. By the way, if you're enjoying this type of content, I create videos like this regularly. A subscription would really help out. Clue's Betrayal. Tron Legacy revealed that Kevin Flynn's perfect digital world had been corrupted from within by his own creation. Released December 17, 2010, the film shows that Clue is an artificial program created by Kevin Flynn to maintain the grid and create the perfect system. Clue betrays Flynn after becoming obsessed with perfection, kills the program Tron, and systematically destroys all ISOs, which are isomorphic algorithms representing spontaneously evolved self-aware programs. The ISOs represented a miracle of digital life, but Clue viewed them as imperfections that needed elimination. The portal between the grid and the real world seals after the betrayal, trapping Flynn inside the digital world for 28 years. Sam receives what he believes is a message from his missing father at Flynn's old arcade. The twist reveals the message was actually sent by Clue as bait to lure Sam to the grid so Clue could escape to the real world. Tron exists as Rinsler, forcibly reprogrammed to serve Clue as his primary enforcer and warrior. The grid represents Flynn's ambitious vision of a perfect world corrupted into tyranny and genocide. Flynn realizes too late that his demand for perfection poisoned Clue's programming, creating a monster. The sequel explores whether creation can be corrupted, and whether perfect systems are possible without becoming oppressive. Clue represents the corruption of utopian ideals through perfectionism, taken to its logical and horrifying extreme. Genetic harvest. The Predator, released in 2018, revealed that the aliens' hunting wasn't sport but genetic engineering. Directed by Shane Black, the film shows that predators collect genetic material through spinal fluid extraction from worthy prey. The act of ripping out spines serves a dual purpose: trophy collection to honor the hunt, and DNA harvesting for scientific advancement. Predator factions practice genetic splicing, using harvested DNA from multiple species across the galaxy. This genetic farming makes predators de facto harvesters, preparing for eventual human extinction rather than honorable warriors. Predator visits to Earth are increasing in frequency due to climate change accelerating human extinction timelines. The predators view Earth as a genetic library that must be harvested before the species destroys itself. Factions of predators exist with differing philosophies about humanity and intervention in other species' development. Some predator factions prove sympathetic to human survival and actively oppose the extinction plans of their own kind. The film reveals upgraded predators using human DNA to enhance their own species' capabilities. The revelation transforms the predators from honorable hunters following ancient codes into something more disturbing: scientists conducting extinction-level genetic experiments on sentient species. It adds scientific exploitation and species survival to the franchise's existing themes of honor and combat. This twist recontextualizes every predator encounter in previous films as reconnaissance and sample collection rather than purely recreational hunting. Causality Loop. 12 Monkeys presented a twist where time travel itself had created the apocalypse. Released December 29, 1995, and directed by Terry Gilliam, the film shows James Cole sent back from the year 2035 to prevent a virus outbreak in 1996 that kills 5 billion people. Cole's presence in the past directly causes the events he's desperately trying to prevent, creating an inescapable loop. Cole's recurring dreams throughout the film are revealed to be suppressed memories of himself in the past, witnessing his own death. The viral outbreak and formation of the Army of the 12 Monkeys result directly from Cole's interventions and investigations. This creates a causal loop where time travel causes the apocalypse, which necessitates time travel, which causes the apocalypse again. History cannot be changed because Cole's actions have already happened in the timeline. The snowballing effect of temporal interference creates increasingly desperate attempts to alter unchangeable events. Dr. Catherine Rayleigh becomes entangled in the loop, eventually understanding the futility of their mission. The true villain, Dr. Peters, releases the virus while Cole watches helplessly, unable to stop what he helped create. This film suggests that some catastrophes are self-fulfilling prophecies made inevitable by attempts to prevent them. It offers a devastating commentary on the futility of changing fate and the dangers of temporal interference. The ending shows young Cole watching his older self die, completing the cycle that will repeat forever. Shandor's return. Ghostbusters Afterlife revealed that the cult leader who tried to destroy the world in 1984 had been waiting underground. Released November 19, 2021, the film shows Ivo Shandor discovered alive in a glass sarcophagus in a Somerville, Oklahoma mine shaft. Shandor founded a cult of Gozer worshippers in 1920, accumulating over 1,000 followers, dedicated to bringing about the apocalypse. He constructed selenium mines as cover for a secret temple dedicated to Gozer hidden deep underground. Shandor used black slime, extracted from supernatural entities, to extend his life far beyond normal human limits. Multiple mandala nodes scattered globally served as spiritual conduits for his accumulated power over decades. Upon awakening after decades of supernatural hibernation, Shandor attempts to become a deity, using accumulated spiritual energy from his followers. Shandor's ultimate goal was to reshape the world according to his twisted vision of perfection through supernatural means. He viewed humanity as fundamentally flawed and sought to remake reality itself. The revelation that threats persist across generations transforms the Ghostbusters franchise from episodic supernatural comedy into mythic battle against eternal evil. Shandor becomes an almost Lovecraftian antagonist whose influence spans a century of supernatural manipulation. His survival suggests that some evil cannot be permanently defeated, only temporarily contained until it rises again. Human Instrumentality. End of Evangelion revealed that humanity's apocalypse wasn't destruction but forced merging. Released July 19, 1997 and directed by Hideaki Anno, the film shows the third impact initiating the Human Instrumentality project, dissolving all AT fields that separate individuals. AT fields represent the psychological and physical barriers separating individual consciousness from others, maintaining personal identity. Without AT fields, all human souls merge into a unified collective consciousness called the Sea of LCL. Shinji Ikari must navigate this psychological merger while confronting personal trauma, depression, isolation and his fear of rejection. The film presents instrumentality as simultaneously terrifying loss of self and seductive relief from the pain of isolation. All humans become one being, eliminating loneliness but also destroying individuality and personal choice. Shinji ultimately rejects instrumentality and chooses individual consciousness, despite the pain it brings, asserting his will. The ending is deliberately ambiguous about whether survivors return to physical form or if the world continues in a different state. Asuka appears on the beach with Shinji, suggesting some individuals can return from instrumentality if they choose. This revelation presents enlightenment, or perfect connection, as potentially destructive rather than transcendent. It asks whether individuality is worth the suffering it entails, a question without easy answers in the human condition. The film suggests that pain and separation are essential components of being human, rather than flaws to overcome. Neural compromise. Pacific Rim Uprising revealed that one of the heroes had been subtly compromised through neural connection. Released March 23, 2018, the film shows that Newt Geisler, drifted with a kaiju brain in the original film to access their hive mind. The kaiju neural network can establish residual connection with humans after drift, leaving permanent psychological links. The precursor entities use this connection to influence Newt's decisions without him fully realizing he's being controlled. Newt becomes unconsciously motivated to construct infrastructure aiding kaiju return through seemingly legitimate scientific research. Precursors use Newt as an unwitting proxy through psychological manipulation rather than direct control of his actions. The drift's aftermath causes lasting psychological trauma and suggestibility that makes him vulnerable to outside influence. Newt's behavior becomes increasingly erratic as the precursor influence strengthens over time. This twist recontextualizes the bond between Pilot and Jaeger as potentially dangerous rather than purely heroic. The revelation that connection itself can be weaponized reframes the franchise's core mechanic, the drift, as fundamentally vulnerable to exploitation. It suggests that intimacy and mental connection create the possibility of manipulation by hostile forces. The film explores whether the benefits of neural linking outweigh the existential risks it creates. If you found this valuable, subscribe so you never miss new content. Thanks for watching.